Well, good afternoon and welcome to Seattle's Eastside Real Estate Podcast. I'm Dan Edwards with the Eastside Real Estate team, and I am coming at you live from sunny Bellevue. Actually, I have no idea if it's sunny or not because the room that I am has no windows. Last I checked, it was kind of rainy, but we're going to bring you some sunshine on this fantastic podcast today. It is Wednesday, December 8th, and we are live on Facebook and YouTube. Feel free to smash the subscribe button or the like button, share it in your personal stream. We've got some great content today. If you are listening to this, we'd love and appreciate it on any of the podcast apps, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast. Please do review our podcast. We would love that. And of course, share it with your friends. Today, we're going to be welcoming for our mortgage moment, Tucker Maxwell of Guild Mortgage. And then we've got an awesome guest, Harry, and I forgot to ask him how to pronounce his name, but we'll just call him Harry, from Cabo San Lucas today of Mahangos Real Estate. And then Menkashi Singh from Revive Physical Therapy. And so we've got three guests. So it's a really packed show today. I'm really looking forward to it. And of course, before we get into the show, we're going to just have a little real talk segment. So here is our question of the day is, why did real estate and buying a home become easier? Isn't that weird that of all the talk about a hot market out there that I would be saying it just got easier to buy a home? Let me unpack that a little bit. So since the pandemic began, Americans have evaluated and reevaluated the meaning of the word home. And that led to a lot of renters realizing that they wanted to take advantage of the benefits of homeownership, including the security, stability, and financial benefits that come with rising equity. At the same time, many current homeowners have decided their house no longer meets their needs and the location no longer meets their needs. In some cases, it accelerated people deciding to move out of the area. And in other cases, it accelerated people moving closer back to family when they kind of evaluated what was important. As a matter of fact, our very own amazing transaction coordinator relocated across the country. She's still managing all of our files today, but she's there with surrounded by her extended family. So that was really a big sea change. Now, not every purchaser has been able to fulfill their desire for a new home. And two of the major obstacles they have right now are, number one, the ability to save for a down payment, and number two, the ability to qualify for a mortgage at the current lending standards. Now, here is where, and we discussed this last week a little bit, but here is where those challenges have been somewhat mitigated. Well, first off, FHFA, which handles mortgages for Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae, and the Federal Housing Administration, is raising the loan limit for prospective purchasers in 2022. The term to describe the maximum loan amount that they will entertain is called the current conforming loan limit. Not current, excuse me. It's just the conforming loan limit. So what's the difference between a conforming loan and a non-conforming loan? And, lenders know a little bit more about this, but what it comes down to, according to Investopia, is conforming loan limits are the only loans that meet the requirements that where that loan can be acquired by Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. Jumbo loans, which exceed that loan limit, are the most common type of non-conforming. What I mean by jumbo, so large amounts. Those are the most common. And what's the difference? What does that difference make to the home buyer? Well, according to a Forbes article, it says, since lenders cannot sell non-conforming loans to Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac to free up their existing cash, they're a bit of a riskier, they're a bit riskier for a lender. And that's especially true for jumbo loans, which aren't backed by the government, any government guarantees. So if you default on a jumbo loan, it's a huge blow to the lender. Thus, lenders generally charge higher interest rates to compensate. So for example, lenders who give out a jumbo loans often require that you make a down payment of at least 20% and show that you have at least 6 months of reserves worth of cash, if not more. So what happened last week is FHFA they significantly increased its conforming loan limits in 2022. So 95% of the counties will be subject to the new baseline limit of 664,700. That's a weird number. So $647,200. And about 100 counties will have conforming limits approaching 1 million, and they're all relative. And last week, if you want to go back on the show, you'll see what they are exactly in King County. They're not the 647, I don't believe. Maybe I'm wrong, and maybe Tucker can correct me. But anyways, the long story short, because I don't want to continue some of this boring stuff, but long story short is by having a higher conforming loan limit, you can actually end up having a less of a down payment. And what that means is that more borrowers can now afford a little bit more money, which makes it a little easier for those people. So that's the bottom line. So if you are a first-time home buyer and you're considering buying and you'd like to know how these affect your buying potential, reach out to Eastside Real Estate team today. You can reach us on our website, theeastsiderealestateteam.com. So that is the bottom line, and that is our mortgage moment. So now, before we that's not your mortgage moment. That's just your Real Talk segment. Sorry. Next up is the mortgage moment. After this short commercial break, join us back. We will be welcoming Tucker Maxwell with Guild Mortgage.
Tired of the same old conversations at networking events that never lead to new clients? BNI is changing the way the world does business by connecting you to strategic relationships that can help you grow your business. BNI is the world's largest networking organization, helping hundreds of thousands of members around the world each year increase revenue through relationship marketing. For information about visiting a BNI chapter near you, go to the BNI Northwest website at bninw.com.
All right, welcome back to the show. I'm Dan Edwards with the Eastside Real Estate Team, and this is the Seattle Eastside Real Estate Podcast. And I am joined by our friend Tucker Maxwell with Guild Mortgage for our mortgage moment update. Tucker, how you doing?
Good, Dan. How are you?
Okay, as a real estate agent trying to explain all of that stuff, did I get it right? Is there
You did.
something else you'd like to add?
No, you're spot on. The only thing I would add is kind of converting the loan limits to purchase prices, because I think that's what, consumers look at more. So now, talking specifically about King, Snohomish, Pierce counties, so the big three here in the greater Seattle area, folks with a 3% down payment can now purchase up to a purchase price of $667,000 purchase price with 3% down. And with 5% down, so going back to your point about the conforming high balance or these counties that have higher priced homes, people can purchase at $938,000 and some change with 5% down. So that's huge. So nearly $1 million with 5% down.
With 5% down. So what is 5% of $1 million?
$50,000.
50,000.
Yeah.
So that's actually pretty amazing that you can actually leverage that and providing you qualify on debt to income and all that stuff, right?
Correct. Yep.
Yeah, versus 20%, which is 200,000, right? That's
20% and a lot of documentation. Jumbo, they're strict. They're going to look.
So this actually even reduces the documentation because they're streamlined, conventional loans, basically.
Absolutely.
So that's excellent. Awesome. All right. So let's talk about the future. Where do you see, I know, we don't really like to talk about interest rates during the mortgage moment because interest rates change. This podcast goes out and, next week something happens, but where do you see things headed for the mortgage market in the 2022?
Yeah, great question, Dan. So, this isn't from Tucker Maxwell specifically, but looking at industry experts. So looking from the perspective of Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, Matthew Gardner, chief economist of Windermere, some of these industry experts and the folks that are actually in the hot seat setting interest rates. For most of them, they anticipate that interest rates are going to stay at or near where they are today, which is really between about, the low threes. And the most pessimistic, view on rates is from the Mortgage Bankers Association. And they even believe that rates are going to stay at or below 4%. So in the overall picture of interest rates, those are still historically low rates.
Okay. So obviously below 4, but we'd like to keep them in the low threes would be awesome. Would be great. Cool. And then as far as what you expect to see with lead times, I mean, Guild Mortgage has been around for a long time. So being able to get people qualified, do you believe that there's going to be a situation where it's a little bit harder or might take a little more time to get approved in the coming months?
No, I think actually quite the opposite. We aren't seeing the refinance volumes that were really slowing things down. A majority of Americans have refinanced now, and so those are off of our desk. And then with automation, HR really doesn't want to answer the phone calls for verification of employment. So they're utilizing technology to put this information out there so that in real time we can approve people. So I would say, all lenders utilizing the technology available should be able to improve their turnaround times.
All right. So we have open houses. We had one this weekend, and somebody came in and they really liked the house, and they thought about writing an offer on it, and they hadn't talked to a lender. And I think that there's always this kind of apprehension about giving information out to a lender. What can you say about your confidentiality and kind of your process? So if somebody wants to just find out if they do qualify, I see so much reluctance. How can you change that?
Yeah, it's a good point. So first, I would recommend working with somebody local that you can put a face to the name, and that they're going to be personally responsible for your loan versus going online and uploading it to some online resource. So that's first and foremost. Find somebody local that has some credibility in your market. Look for referrals directly from the realtors. They're working with these people, and so they're going to know, like, and trust them. And then all lenders utilize bank level security. So utilizing the technology that we offer our clients is the best way to upload documents and provide us that information so that it is secure. And specifically for Guild Mortgage, the first document that we provide clients is an e-consent. So it's telling them right from the beginning what our policy is with those documents, how we protect it, how we store it, and what we do after the transaction's over.
Okay. Excellent. Well, listen, Tucker, I appreciate your input and coming on and sharing with our listeners and watchers what's going on. How do our guests get a hold of you?
Yep. My cell phone number, call me directly, 425-757-9202.
All right. 425-757. Thank you so much, Tucker, for joining us today.
Absolutely. Thanks, Dan.
All right. If you're listening to this and like to reach out, give Tucker a call. Up next, we've got, I'm going to try and say it. It's Harry Shrikora of Miajos Real Estate, live from Cabo San Lucas, where we're going to be discussing the real estate market down there. We had talked a couple weeks ago. So come on back after this short commercial break.
Do your walls have the doldrums? Why not fix that with some beautiful original artwork? Give your friends and family something to talk about, ponder, and enjoy. Lavish some beauty on them and yourself. You deserve it. Pamela Beer has helped countless clients find the inspirational piece to evoke just the right memory or feeling to their space. Art consultant Kathy says,
Pam's artwork is uplifting, colorful, and highly imaginative, always providing enjoyment and hope to patients and staff in our many hospitals and clinics. Her sense of joy and her commitment to her sense of color and design just add extra enjoyment to everything she does. Thank you, Pam, for all the healing that your artwork gives to the world.
To learn more, follow or message Pamela on Instagram at Pamela_K_beer or Facebook at Pamela K. Beer Art.
All right, our next guest has a lengthy introduction. Harry was born in Fairbanks, Alaska, and has lived all throughout Alaska. He joined Madden Real Estate in 2010 after being previously licensed in Anchorage with Martinson Real Estate when living there during the early 90s, as well as Jack White Real Estate in Anchorage in 2016. Formerly an associate broker licensed in Alaska and a luxury team leader at Keller Williams Cabo Paradise in Los Cabos, Mexico, Harry is currently licensed as a broker in Baja California Sur with Naranjos Real Estate. You're going to correct me that, I'm sure. He has enjoyed beautiful Baja style living for over 40 years after his first trip in 1974 with his family and loved ones, and he loves the culture. Harry enjoys both Baja living, easy lifestyle, and visiting his children, plus his family in Anchorage in the summertime. Please join me, if I can find him. Where'd you go? I lost my tab. Please join me in welcoming, if I can find, because I minimized the wrong tab. Oh, there it is. I found it. There he is. Harry, are you there?
I am. Can you hear me okay?
I can't hear you over the waves and the margaritas, man.
Oh, I'll see if I can get him to shut down the blender for a few minutes. And I don't know what I can do about the waves, but, those are the things we must live with. Yeah, when you're stuck here in paradise.
It's the cross that you will bear, I suppose, right?
It is. I'm going to have to take one for the team there.
Take one for the team. So, Harry, we've been in communication over the last couple of months, and I know there's a lot of things happening in your world One of the things that we wanted to do to bring to our watchers, listeners, is kind of the idea of owning some property that not only they can visit, but also use as a investment. So, is it possible for somebody from Seattle to own property in Mexico?
Yes, actually, the big misnomer is that you can't own property in Mexico, and that's absolutely false. You actually can own property fee simple most areas in Mexico. There is a limited protected area, which is approximately 100 kilometers or 60 miles from the borders, the United States and southern border. And then there's a 50 kilometer or about 30-mile buffer zone around the beaches, wherever there is water. So if you wanted to own a condo in Mexico City, you could own it fee simple, much like you would in the United States or Lake Chapala or any of these other areas that are not literally on the coast.
Okay, so they have to be areas that are away a few miles off the coast then.
Correct.
Okay. The concern is that at any time the Mexican government can just take your land. Is that true?
That is false. They cannot just take your land. And even if, there are situations that arise where perhaps somebody got sick or was not able to come down, and let's say you didn't pay your taxes on your property, which are quite reasonable here, they're not going to take your property. What they're going to do is they're going to continue to accumulate, the penalties and fees associated, but it's really inconsequential, and you have no risk whatsoever with, somebody, an authority coming in and taking your property.
So it's just like it would be here. If I didn't pay my taxes, I'd be, up to a point where it would get foreclosed on, right? But I mean, it's a long process for somebody, even in the United States, to have their property foreclosed upon. So it sounds like some of the misconceptions. So when somebody comes to invest, there's kind of this stigma and concern. Where are the safe places? I think I might have a screen share of a house that I might be interested in. This $37 million house here. Now this is right on.
I'm more than happy to help you with that.
Yeah, happy to help. Yep. Okay. This is right on the beach. So how can you own this property if it's on the beach?
Well, that actually falls in that restricted zone. Article 27 of the Mexican Constitution prohibits extranjeros or foreigners from owning property on the beach. So you have to be a Mexican citizen to be able to own property in what is called an escritura. If you wanted to buy that particular property, then what we would do is set you up with what is called a fideicomiso. And a fideicomiso is a land trust. So there is a bank that actually manages the property, the associated governmental registrations, etc. And you have the full rights of ownership where you can do whatever it is that you'd like to do with that property, upgrade it, modify it, sell it. Everything is basically done the same way that you would be used to in the United States. It's just held in a different kind of format, and that's kind of what throws people off. But it's really not that different or unusual.
Okay, so even though you can't own land on the beach, you can, in a way, have the ownership rights of a property on the beach by running it through a certain way.
Yes, and you can actually own it if you get Mexican citizenship, or if you form a corporation. Let's say that you decided you wanted to invest in Airbnb money machines, and you start buying condos or something like that. If you form a corporation, the corporation can own those properties fee simple.
Excellent. Okay, so that actually brings me to one of the big things, right? The Airbnb. You bring that up. So, have you helped anybody buy something like that? What's the process look like? And I think I have a spreadsheet. Let me see if I can share that while you're walking me through it. Somebody says, "Hey, I want to buy a property that I can go ahead and rent out, as it'll be my second property, but it's actually an investment." Kind of tell me how that works.
Well, it actually works very simply. You register yourself as an individual or a corporation so that there's a tax entity. And what you're looking at here is a flow chart of the process for actually procuring a property here in Mexico. I've tried to simplify it as much as possible so that people understand it, and also make it so that it's comprehensible to individuals who have purchased properties in the United States or Canada.
Yeah, I was going to say,
And
looking at it just right now, I mean, this looks like the same process that I use. You sign your purchase, you got earnest money. We got to provide some, information on that. But how long does this process take? I mean, I could cover up the part where it says 60 to 90 days, but
oh, well, yeah, and it normally takes around 60 to 90 days to be able to purchase a property here. If you are going to put the property in that corporation, or if you are a Mexican national, then of course it can take as little as 30 days to get the documentation prepared and submitted. And then basically what happens is you prepare an offer, you do a home inspection, you make sure everything is good. You do the initial wire transfer, determine how the title is going to be held, and then it goes through a process of basic registration, to transfer the tax ownership and any of the other, if you're going to want title insurance or whatever it is that the way that you're going to manifest the property. And then that goes to a closing attorney, transaction coordinator, who coordinates all that with a notary. And notaries in Mexico operate a little bit differently than the way they're done in the United States. Notaries in Mexico are more like a magistrate with a court, and they have specialized additional training as attorneys to be able to file and submit the documentation necessary for the property transfer to the court's federal registration.
all right. So this is kind of planning something for the future. But if somebody was serious about buying a property, either for themselves or as an investment, do you recommend that they bring their realtor, Dan, to come down there with them to meet you and preview the properties? Do you recommend that, Harry?
Oh, well, of course, if they're to bring their realtor Dan down, of course I would recommend that. But a lot of things can be handled with a Zoom call and some basic, simple explanation about what means what. And realistically, having been an associate broker in Alaska and having my broker's license here, what I do is I translate. I make sure that Dan understands exactly what the process is going to be and how it compares to what you've experienced and the way that you do business in the United States. So it helps make people more comfortable with that decision-making process and execution of participation in a purchase of either an investment, retirement home, or just a place to let down your hair.
Okay, very good. So price ranges, what are we looking at? If somebody wanted to get their foot in the door, can they do it as low as, and then obviously we saw 40 million, so.
Right. Well, that's the thing. There is, price points for all tastes. Some of the happiest clients I have were looking at properties that were, in the 100 to 150,000 range. The median price point here is about 315,000, and for that, you can get a beautiful 2 or 3 bedroom condo, either close to the beach or overlooking the beach. Beachfront is going to be around 600. And then Cabo actually has more $2 million plus properties that are for sale than anywhere else on the planet right now.
Awesome. Well, we could probably go over this like quite a bit. There's a ton of stuff to talk about. But the best thing to do is for them to reach out to you. I was going to share the relocation guide that you had. Where is that? Here we go. That is this where I would send people to get I lost it. Share screen. The relocation guide here. AMP.
AMPI Los Cabos is the National Association of Realtors here. I'm on the board of directors, and I helped create this relocation guide as a source for people to have information about places to go, things to do, who to do business with. And anybody that's looking to gather information about properties here in Los Cabos can find it at cuincabo.com. Or if you'd like to contact me directly, you can reach me at my website or my email, which is caboagent@gmail.com.
Perfect. Well, Harry, again, this is a lot of fun, and I've been meaning to get you on for a while, and I think that this is a great service. Obviously, there's a lot of people thinking about pulling some of their money out of their stock market, investing it in real estate, and what a great way to do it, to have a place that you can go and enjoy, and a place that can also be cash flow property. So thanks for coming on, Harry. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Dan, and I hope that the information will be found useful by many people. And like I said, if you have any questions whatsoever, you can look at the website, cuincabo.com, or reach out to caboagent@gmail.com, and I'm more than happy to answer any questions you might have.
Awesome. Thanks, Harry. All right. After this short break, we are going to visit with Meena Ashki Singh of Revise Physical Therapy. So come on right on back after this short break.
It's about time. Do you find you never have enough time for what matters most to you? Our comprehensive It's About Time virtual productivity program teaches you the secrets of long-term, sustainable, and life-changing productivity. We provide monthly webinars, implementation challenges, resources, community, and accountability. You'll learn tips, techniques, and strategies to help you more effectively and efficiently manage your email, tasks, time, workspace, priorities, projects, and resources. You'll implement organized systems and productive habits that work. You'll finally get better results at work, experience less stress, have more time to dote on your clients, time to spend with your family and friends, take better care of yourself, pursue hobbies, and get more out of life. Do you crave more time for what matters most? Are you ready to take control? Isn't it about time? Well, to start having more time for what matters most to you, call us at 206-579-5743 or visit our website for more information at www.itssimplyplaced.com. Again, that's 206-579-5743 or visit our website, www.itssimplyplaced.com. Join today because really, it's about time. Your time. It's about.
Whoa, that was weird. Welcome back to the show. I'm Dan Edwards with Seattle's Eastside Real Estate Team's podcast, and we are welcoming it's Meena, I'm going to actually, she said I could say Meena for short. Meena Singh with Revive Physical Therapy. Meena has been helping people in chronic unexplained pain get better and return to an active lifestyle. Please join me in welcoming Meena to the show. Welcome, Meena.
Hi, Dan. Thank you for having me here.
I pride myself in not screwing up people's names, and I apologize for doing it. I apologize profusely for doing it profusely.
It's okay. It's just Minakshi.
All right. So talk to me about what it is you do, Meena.
So I'm a physical therapist, and I have worked in traditional physical therapy for around 15 years. And I started doing myofascial release, which is John Barnes myofascial release, just a couple years back, and I'm having a very good results with all my patients. So now I practice that mainly, but I still give them some exercises, and I help people with chronic pain and women's health patients, like people who have pelvic pain, incontinence, back, hip, knee pain, diastasis recti, which is separation of abdominal muscles, prolapse, and scar release, even pain with intercourse. So people don't realize there are so many, like there are muscles in your pelvic bowl too. And if they are not working like the other group of muscles in our body, they can create some problems as well. So those are pelvic health problems, and I help people with those problems as well.
So that's really interesting. So my mom is actually a physical therapist as well, but this is a very narrow scope that you're looking at. And you said it's myofascial. Is that what you said? Yeah.
Myofascial release. That is one of the component. When I do the women's health, that is one of the component for sure. but we all have our own set of problems because of the posture, or it can be some restrictions, because when we go through life, we all have had falls as a kid, a baby, or while we were getting birth, we have our traumas, and which we never come to know until we are adult, and then we start having problems. So I find the root cause of the problem and not just treat the symptom, and that is how I work. I see the body as a whole, not just a part.
Right.
Which
So a lot of people will say, I'm just getting old. I just have these aches and pains. They're normal. What would you say?
When you are growing old, definitely your joints are changing, like they are getting arthritic, but the muscles around them are, and the fascia around them. So when I say I do myofascial release, I work with fascia, which is a connective tissue, three-dimensional from head to toe. And people don't realize when we are getting old, that fascia is getting tighter and tighter. And when it is getting restricted and tight, it can put 2,000 pounds of pressure in a very small area in your body. And it is like a lot of pressure for a certain area. So if that is happening, it will create so much problems in that particular area. And because it is with age, that restriction is progressing. So that is why you are having more problems. It is not just age. It is just something in your body which was supposed to be taken care of. It was never taken care of. And now it is causing you problems. So I would say if we can take care of the muscle and fascia around the joint, we can stop the progression of the joint arthritis and everything. Like I would say prevent the progression, not stop the progression. That will keep going, but at least we can have patient to be not in that much pain and be active still, with even with whatever has already happened. Like some people have already had surgeries, so they have more fascial restrictions, and they had like some people have been in a lot of motor vehicle accidents, and they have their own traumas in the life, and that causes a lot of restrictions in our body.
Okay, so John Barnes myofascial release, is that similar to massage or physical therapy techniques?
So it is very different than massage for sure. In massage, it is like a lot of constant moving around. And when I do, I put like I stay in one of the area where I feel is the restriction present, and then I stay in that area and I hold the pressure for a while, and that is how I get to the fascia, because fascia is like a three-dimensional, and it's not just superficial fascia, there is a deep fascia too. So to get to that level, you have to stay in that position. So with massage, you're constantly moving, so you don't get to the fascia level to move the restriction. So with massage, you temporarily feel good, but with MFR, once you start changing the fascia, you start feeling the changes in your body, and it's like you get to the root cause of the problem. And
what is one of the most common things you work on?
Most common, I would say back pain, low back pain, and hip pain.
Okay. And how long do you usually work with a client, and how is it how is it different than a traditional physical therapy clinic?
So in traditional physical therapy, I would say they do more of exercises and maybe some of manual. With me, I do a lot of manual. So for my NR session, it's mostly 45, 50 minutes of manual, which is a very gentle technique. Nothing is like which people will be in pain while I'm doing technique with them. It's very gentle, and it works better than what I used to do when I used to work in traditional physical therapy. So that is the part which I feel patient likes too, because it gives them the result, the hope of being pain-free and being able to get back to active lifestyle. So that is, and did you ask me another question?
How is it different than traditional?
Yeah, that is what I was saying, because I do more of manual and less of like I do give them self-care techniques, because it is part of teamwork where I work with them and I give them some exercises at the end of the session which they need to do. And it's not necessarily exercise, it's a self-care technique which they learn eventually to take care of themselves without needing me as part of their care. So I treat patients for 6 to 12 visits mainly, and sometimes people get better fast, but I still want them to get to the best of their ability so they don't have to come back to me and they can stay pain-free and
So is it
that way.
something that is, like you said, that 6 to 8 things and then you're done? Or is there like a maintenance level that's necessary for somebody that's more athletic or somebody that has chronic problems? What's your philosophy there?
So, with my philosophy, I would say it is better to stay in maintenance where I will, like, once people are pain free, just for it to not come back, because sometimes people have had chronic pain for years and they do get better, and then they get better to a certain level, but then they have to go to the next level where they are pain free, but they can still do the things they were avoiding to do. And so many people, they don't get to that level. So I would say once I've taken them to the level, because it is their goal ultimately what they want to do, once they have reached their goal, I ask them to come once a month, or like instead of coming twice a week or once a week, it will be once a month for maintenance. And that really takes care of them from keeping meaning to come back to me, like for the future problems. So it takes care of the problem from coming back then. So it is more of prevention than helping them when they are in pain.
Okay. And then what's kind of an example of a recent success story that you had with one of your patients?
So I have a lot of success story, but I would say I have a patient who had pelvic pain, and she had stopped doing like her whatever exercises she was doing, and pelvic pain is the like pain inside in the bottom, and so I assessed her and I knew what was going on, and she it was coming from her posture, like where she was doing something regularly, so I had to tell her not to do that, and that was one part of it. And then there was sometimes the muscles are not working in coordination. Some muscles are working more than the others. So we took care of that. And then because I, as a part of women's health therapist, I go internally where I go and do the internal work, and I released the areas which were getting tight on the same side of her pelvic, where the pelvic pain was there. And so she's now pain free, and she is almost to the point where she's going to get back to whatever she was doing. She went to the zoo last week and she was saying, "Oh, I walked uphill without pain," and she couldn't do that without pain before.
Oh, that's awesome, Mina. Yeah. So from a standpoint of A, noticing that here's the posture problem that you have, B, here's the tightness that needs to be, and then the real work. So it's a combination of those things. That's
Combination.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. All right. So if somebody's looking to contact you, how do they get in touch with you for your services?
So I have Instagram and Facebook page with Revive Physical Therapy, and my website is reviveptmfr.com, and they can directly reach me at 678-429-6435, and they can just call me or text me at this number, and that's how they can reach me.
Yeah, I think we have your website here. Revive PTMFR.
Yes.
And this video will have a link to this website. So
Yes.
they basically, you can reach out and check about your availability.
Yes.
On the website.
And this is directly connected to my electronic medical record I use. So once they click on something, it comes to me as a request, and I approve it, and then they can get to. But if they have any question, they can reach out to me at that number 678-429-6435, and I would be happy to help get them better.
Awesome. Mina, thank you so much for coming on the show. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dan. Thanks for having me.
All right. Well, we're always looking for future guests, new local businesses. Heck, we'll take businesses even in Mexico. What do you know? So if you happen to know of any local businesses you'd like for us to support, feel free to send us a message. We'd love to feature and support their local businesses. As always, if you're looking to decide if now's the right time to buy, sell, or invest, let's connect about your options. And then lastly, I just want to share with you something we got coming up, or an event that's coming up if you're looking to make your holidays a little more special. Bellevue Art Museum has a holiday arts market, and that is Thursday, which is that would be tomorrow, between 11 and 6:30 p.m. So find the perfect gift for the art lover on your list and treat yourself. You know, you're not supposed to buy stuff right before Christmas, so don't do that. But you can buy gifts for that art lover. It's going to be like I said, between 11 a.m. and 6:30 p.m. at the Bellevue Arts Museum in downtown Bellevue. That concludes our show. I want to thank our guests, Tucker, Harry, and Mina for joining us. We really appreciate it. Here, let's see. Can I throw everybody on there? Let's go. Our wonderful guests. There we go. There we are. Thank you guys for coming on. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Dan.
Thanks for having me.
All right. So, for the rest of you guys, we'll see you all next week. Thanks for watching. You guys have a wonderful day.
See you later.